Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1090. Holy moly, we're getting close to 1100 episodes. We're going to talk disorganization, chaos. Oh my God, Card Show Week's always, my mind's just going all over the place. So I want to talk about this. It's finally come to the time. This is well, it's not AA. What's Procrastinators, Disorganization, Messy People Anonymous. So it's finally come to that. I need to just admit I have a problem. I have a disorganization problem. It looks fairly organized in this room, although you can't see the table, the desk, with piles of cards, boxes of cards over here. You don't even want to see the shipping room, the card room, chaos, which this is the toughest time of my rec room, chaos. Although I'm getting close to finishing sorting the 30,000 Bowman draft that have been sitting in boxes. It's like, hey, we're getting close to spring training and baseball season, and some of these prospects are starting to move. I need to get these moving. The good thing is that purchase that I made, it was like 12 cases of Bowman draft from last year. I doubled my money just on the Jackson holidays, and I sold them at pre-peak because I think the base papers have come down since the peak at the end of the season last year. They were selling as high as like $15. Mine sold for like an average of $4. But there's some other players, they're not going to be selling for $5 each, but if I can get $1.50 here and there on 30,000, it all adds up. So I think I'm down to one row to sort. And I think that's the last box because I was zooming through yesterday, but there's an opportunity cost to sorting. What's the opportunity cost? It takes over listing and shipping and organizing. So it's chaos. It's Madison Card Show Week, which is always chaos. More chaotic because of my disorganization, and I way overbooked the show. I could have filled 200 tables and counting because I still get people asking, hey, do you have any tables? Hey, can I get a second table? Can I get a third table? So yesterday I went through Madison Card Show, by the way, this Saturday, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. I went through yesterday after the show and did another count, checking all my, anybody can't, confirming with people that I just haven't touched base with. And I noticed I doubled up a couple more. I need to get my spreadsheet and get it alphabetized so I can avoid those mistakes. So it's like, oh, sweet. I doubled up this guy and this guy. And then I count up and I'm like, fuck, I'm still like 20 oversold. So I did that. And then I had to go to a couple of dealers that had that typically only get one or two tables, but they wanted an extra table this month. I had to go back to them and say, hey, I'm sorry, I overbooked. It's my fault. I'm only going to be able to get you 2 tables, or I can only get you your 1 this month, which I don't want to do. I hate to do that, but it's a necessity. Fortunately, I haven't had to tell anybody, hey, I'm sorry, you can't have a table. That is one thing that I want to avoid at all costs, because I know how frustrating it is on my side when people cancel on me. But if you're listening and you've booked a table, if you want to cancel, no sweat off my back. But I think I am. I went to Fleet Farm. I bought every last table they had, only 5. So I think I have a dozen tables now in my garage. My wife's going to be pleased when she steps foot in the garage and sees that the card show tables have multiplied. It's like gremlins. I fed the tables after midnight, or is that when they go crazy? When do they duplicate? Multiply, multicate? duplicate, triplicate. Woo. So I picked up those tables. I'm going to go back and do another recount. There's one dealer that hasn't responded to a couple of my text messages, so that's 2 tables that may come back. There's another dealer that I might have to say, hey, I can only get you 2 tables, not 3. And then with the tables I added, I think I'm getting close. I'm getting close to that magic number. It's not ideal because the problem is it's not a table problem. Like if I had the space, like I'll just go to Costco and buy all the tables they have. Like I'll go to Farm and Fleet. Hopefully they have some in stock. I bought out Fleet Farm, but I'll drive to Janesville or wherever the next Fleet Farm is, Dodgeville or wherever it is. The problem is space. So if you are coming to the Madison Card Show this Saturday, it's going to be packed. It's going to be packed with people, but it's going to be packed with tables. So there's going to be a little less room to navigate. And I know a couple people complained about last month, which is a good problem to have, but that's where we're at. I did request the 3rd ballroom. It is booked for another event. So that's out of the question. So there's going to be additional tables in the hallways. I'm going to sneak a couple tables in the downstairs hallway. We're going to pack a couple more into the upstairs mezzanine. I'm going to pack in a couple more tables in the front area. It's not really a problem. Well, it is for me right now. But the upstairs ballroom, based on the square footage, we've got nice wide aisles. Enough so that you could get another 5 to 7 tables in that room. The problem is the way the setup is, it just isn't. You would have like a floating row, like it just doesn't. It doesn't work with the flow. So I'm gonna try a couple things when I go down to the Sheraton tomorrow. On the where I'm usually set up on the north wall, I'm going to try to angle the tables a little differently so I can get a couple more in, because there's usually space, like though the ends, there's usually big, wide, like you could drive a Mack truck through, but again, not enough space to where you can add another 2 rows to make it like flow with the room. Anyway, so Madison Card Show this Saturday, 9 to 3, John Nolan Drive at the Sheraton Hotel. My ticker says 135. There's going to be at least 140, probably 145 tables this Saturday. So it's going to be dress like it's summer, because it's going to get hot with all the people. Another problem is with the HVAC system. You know, when you're in a lobby, it's cold. The doors are always opening. So they crank the heat up in the lobby. Well, guess what? Heat rises. We've got a mezzanine above us, and it's just usually sweltering up there. So that's what I'm dealing with. But you know what? It's my own problem, because I was disorganized. So I am not setting up this Saturday. I was the first casualty. And that's okay. It's actually, I'm looking forward to not setting up. Just because it allows, when I do set up, like I can't shop. It's difficult for me to leave my table and go collect money. Not difficult, but you know, sometimes it just depends on the timing. So it's just easier. It's much easier for me. But I usually make a lot more money than what 2 tables cost. So that's the opportunity cost. But also less stress is also, it's like, okay, it might be worth this extra money. So I am looking forward to that once I get everything set up, because I'm gonna go probably I'm gonna run to the Sheraton tomorrow afternoon just to check the rooms over, get name tags down for the tables that are set up. And then Friday night, I'll go back after dinner and bring in all of my tables and all the signage. And then I'll get the tables. I don't want to actually set the tables up Friday night. I'll do that Saturday morning because I want to limit the space I take up, especially in like the hallway spaces. I don't want to create a log jam. So we'll create the log jam on Saturday at the show. So it's also gonna allow me to talk to the dealers a little bit more than what I normally do, because I'm zip zapping around. So it'll allow me to, like, hey, are you in for next month? And so I think usually it's like, if you set up like next month, you're just let me know. But it's to the point where there's more demand than supply. And so now it's going to be like, we're going to need confirmations like a month out. So this doesn't happen. But again, it's my fault. I have a spreadsheet. I see James is coming. I need a card show planner. It's just, my problem is, and this is part of the disorganization nation that I'm living in. My problem, see, I'm admitting a problem. My problem is I'm organized with my spreadsheet, but I'm not monitoring it. And also I take for granted my regulars. And it's not a slight on my reg, because I was talking to one of my, he's like, you forgot about me? And I'm like, no, I didn't forget. You're automatic. So it's actually, if I forget about you, it's actually a good thing, because I know you're there. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to chase you down. So a lot of times I miss those. And so I do my count, and it's like, oh, I'm good. And then I start looking, I'm like, oh shit, I missed this guy, all my regulars. And I'm like, now I'm not good. So, I just need to focus more. I think going through my old grade school report cards, Bo needs to pay more attention. That's what Bo needs to do. Mrs. Hepner was right in second grade. So, I think what I need to force myself to do, like it or not, I need to spend like 1 hour a week, 30 minutes a week, and focus solely on this task. This is the card show task. Okay, this is my block of time where I must focus. No multitasking, no picking up my phone and answering, because that's another problem. Like, especially when it comes to, and I'll notice I miss dealers. Like, I won't put them in the spreadsheet, because I'll be like at Cubs convention and I'll get a text. Hey, can you? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I go off and drink beers and and then they show up and they're like, well, yeah, I texted you. I'm like, yeah, fuck, you did. So I need to just, and I think that's part of the ADD, the ADHD. Where's Brian at? I still have that book I haven't read. See? So I just need to talk my problems out. I just need to talk it out. And I know I'm at fault 100% on all of this, and take responsibility and make it better for next month. But we're going to have a great show on Saturday. And it's probably going to be a little stressful, but that's okay. That's okay. I'd rather it be stressful because I'm overbooked and stressed out than losing money and not filling tables. So it's a good problem to have. And this is also like a temporary, because once we get into the warm weather months, it's like, oh, I'm straight. It's like a week before the show, and it's like, shit, I still need to fill 5 tables. So it's all cyclical. January is always the busiest show, both in terms of crowds and dealers. February, much of the same. And then it's kind of like March is kind of a little less, April, little less. And then by May, June, July, August, it's like, geez, where's all the dealers at? And then boom, they come back out in the winter. So Madison Card Show this Saturday, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. So obviously there's no Hobby Evolution on Saturday, but Sunday we will review the show, and hopefully it's a good review. I think I'm also at the point where my wife flies in. I've been batching it for over a week now. My wife flies back on Saturday night. My mother-in-law's man friend had volunteered to pick my wife up at the airport, because she doesn't fly until like 10:30, and I wake up at like 4. Saturday morning, and then I'm running around and like I'm usually passed out by 8 on Saturday night of the Madison Card Show. So I'm like, of course, stubborn Bo. I'm like, no, I will come pick you up. And she's like, it's like 10:30 and you have a card show that day. I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. And I think today I may have to be like, I think Bill's going to have to pick you up Saturday night because it's going to be a long day. Where are we at? Let's go to the chat. Shane, what's happening? Good morning. Victor, what's happening? Good morning to you. Steel Cards in the house. What's going on? David, what's up? He's a part of the Disorganization Nation. Good morning, David. Donald, what's going on? Good morning. Ryan Sells in the house. Good morning. Hey, speaking of, he's got the coffee cup. Speaking of coffee cup, my coffee maker did it again this morning. Only brewed half a pot. So I think it's the whole cleaning thing. I think I need to clean. I think I need to run some vinegar through my coffee maker, run the clean cycle. I think that's why it's having the issues. I did see Sports Card Ripping Teacher says he was hoping to see some pizza and coffee. When I went to Fleet Farm, it was a sign from above. I did not get a pizzazz pizza oven. I couldn't find the pizza oven coffee maker, though it does exist. Somebody in the Hobby Evolution Facebook group, stop by. If you're on Facebook, go to the Hobby Evolution Facebook group. We found out where Shane gets his mayo, his $8 mayo. We found out from the strip club turned grocery store. I think Andy shared with us that there is a pizza oven coffee maker combo, which is what we were looking for yesterday. It looks small though. Like I want like a real pizza oven, not like just a little miniature oven that you put like bagels in. I want somebody make it. So I was at Fleet Farm getting the tables yesterday, and I'm just walking down the aisle, and all of a sudden, boom, pizzazz, pizza oven. And I'm like, oh, it's a freaking sign. I need to get a pizza oven. I think I actually, now that I think about it, I think we might have a pizza oven. At one time, I think we did. Maybe it's probably in storage or somewhere. But I thought at one time my wife and I had a pizza oven. Maybe at like when we first moved in together, maybe we had a pizza oven. Maybe we got it maybe it's one of those wedding gifts that like you put on your we got like putting a wedding registry together sounds like the most awesome thing ever. Like it's like when you're 8 years old creating a Christmas list. Now, for me, it was the JCPenney catalog or Toys R Us. And you're going through and you're circling back. This is before the internet, kids. And, it's like, oh, I want this, this, and this. And that's what a wedding registry sounds like, but it's nothing like that. Because A, it's not fun stuff. It's like steak knives. And pizza ovens are fun. But steak knives and like plates and cups and like shit that you actually use. Like I want stuff to play with. You can't play with steak knives. And my wife will be like, I think she just ended up like, I just got sick. I don't want to deal with this crap. I'm like, can you put baseball cards on there? No. Damn it. Then this is no fun. This is not fun. I don't want steak knives. We have perfectly fine steak knives, but they're rusting. It doesn't matter. Just make sure that before we use them, the rust doesn't flake off into our food. Wedding registries are no fun. It sounds fun. It's not. Not at all. So I think that's where I don't know. Maybe I'm just hallucinating. I could be. Let's see. Good morning. Philly Joe's in the house. What's going on? Mikey is here. Good morning. JC3. What's up? It's Stuart. What's going on? Stuart the GOAT. JC3. Charlie's in the house. Shipping and listing and coffee. Oh my. Love it. I was, by the way, check out JC3 Cards and Collectibles on YouTube. He does a live with Adam from the Dollar Box. I joined him last night in the chat and hung out. Usually I don't get to, I always watch the replay because it's at 8 o'clock. And usually I'm like, by 8 o'clock, I'm kind of winding down. Like if I'm working, like 8 o'clock's kind of like my turning off point. And I'll go upstairs and lay on the couch for an hour and then go to bed. But when my wife's out of town, it's like I'm sorting car. I was sorting Bowman Draft, and I'm like, oh shit. I was watching AEW, and it got close to. I'm like, oh shit, Dollar Box Live is on tonight. So watched it in the rec room while I sorted Bowman Draft, and Stu was leading us down that rabbit goat hole for some nonsense. Very cool. Unicorn Cupcake, what's going on? Good morning. Troy's in the house. What's happening? Dave Arnold, second day in a row we've had. It's a new record in Bushnell. So one of my friends told me that, and where are they at? One of my high school friends. We're kind of spread out all over the place now. One of them had only been to school. Let me quote. Okay, so I think they're in Bloomington. My kids have been to school a total of 7 days since December 22nd. Because of course there's the Christmas break. I don't know. Can you call it Christmas break? They have Christmas break and then like freaking snow days, ice days, cold. Like they've been beaten and battered. How many days have you had, Dave Arnold in Bushnell? Second day in a row. I saw, did Amtrak finally get back on the rails? I thought I saw like a story that Amtrak service was finally restarted from Chicago to Macomb, which Dave was supposed to take the train back the Sunday of Cubs convention, which was almost 2 weeks ago. So Amtrak has not been running for almost 2 weeks, at least in that direction. Todd, what's going on? Good morning. Great band name, Card Room Chaos. Yes. You know, my neighbor is in a metal band. My neighbor's in a metal band, okay? And they practice on Wednesday nights because I can hear it. And it's like, what's that sound? It's a funny squeaky sound. Let's see. Where are we at? So he's in a metal. He posted some of their. It's not music that I would listen to. Can you hear that? How does that not hurt your throat? So my neighbor plays the drums, and I always think of Step Brothers when he posts pictures. How does that screaming that like, oh my God. Like when I sing karaoke, well, when I don't really sing karaoke, but when I'm like at a when music is playing and I'm like singing along, like, you know, the song comes on, yeah, and I wake up in the morning and my throat's sore and it's like or if it's a loud bar, like Cubs convention, it's a loud bar and you have to talk loud because everybody's talking loud. I wake up with a sore throat and that guy screams. How does he do it? Double A Cards, what's going on? Good morning. Sports card ripping teacher, sometimes you need a real good mess before you achieve pure organization. Ooh, that's like Confucius. That is wise words. That is true. And my wife doesn't believe me when I tell her that. Because like when I clean, like I have to just like make a giant mess. Because you've got like, and for me, like I just have a lot of shit. My wife is she's not a minimalist. She's certainly not a minimalist, but she does like to purge, and it like gives her great joy throwing shit away. I'm like, no. It like I think there's got to be some underlying psychological stuff going on to why she loves to throw shit away and I love to hoard. I wonder if it's because you know how they say like you tend to eat, and I feel there's a lot of truth to this. Like in the fall, like when it starts getting cold, we tend to eat like junk, like more. We tend to eat more leading into winter, like when it's cold, because of our ancestors. We didn't know when we were going to eat again back in the day because you like, had to hunt and cook. And can you imagine? Like, can you imagine like dropping? Like we get into a DeLorean. Like I would not survive 30 minutes in like the Wild West. I'm like, where's the couch? You got Netflix on in here? I could not survive 10 minutes in like the olden days. Can you imagine? Like jump in the DeLorean and go back. Okay, you've got to live. How? How? There's no heat. There's no couch. There's no Netflix. What the hell am I going to do? You mean I have to actually work? Hey, at least the one good thing, if you were in the Wild West, you don't have to change your own oil. I guess that's one perk. I did not get the pizzazz. Womp womp. I got 5 tables. The last 5 they had in stock. Orlando's in the house. What's going on? Mr. Archer is here. What's happening? Kyle, good morning. Did you buy some dirt cheap? So, no, I didn't, but I thought about it. I did think about it. So, what Kyle is referring to here, this was an accident yesterday. I accidentally went to blowoutcards.com instead of blowoutforums.com because I go to the blowout forums every day, just check things out. So when I was on the Blowout Cards website, look at that 2018 Donruss Blaster Box case. You get 20 boxes for $100. That's $5 for a blaster box. And it's NASCAR. Where's Low Roller Scratcher? No, I'm not listing NASCAR in my eBay store. But I did, for a moment, think about it. Buying that case, you get 1 autograph or memorabilia card per box. Like, that's for $5. Like, that's a damn good deal. 60 cards per box. Like, what's that? That's like... that's like, what, 2 cents a card? Let's see, 5 divided by 60. Oh, it's 8 cents a card. My math sucks. 8 cents a card? I know it's NASCAR. But not only is it 8 cents per card, but it's $5 for an autograph or memorabilia card, plus 59 other cards. That's a damn good deal. If I had any interest in NASCAR, I would be all over that. I don't know what's in there. I'm sure it's junk, right? Kyle can probably help us with that. I'm sure it's junk, but still, even if it's junk, like now I'm curious, is there any like $100 Donruss baseball black? No, because people will buy that shit. But now I'm curious, like what else do they have on sale? They do have a 2023 Prism baseball blaster case for $200. So that's $10 a blaster box. Oh, they got Bowman U football. Oh, wow. Those prices went up. $1,700 for a case. That's a hobby case, though. So there you go. Hey, they do have Top Series 1 pre-order. Hey, if you missed out at Topps.com, don't worry, because we're still almost 3 weeks away. You can get your Topps. Don't worry. Just because you didn't get the Topps.com pre-order, you can get it on your doorstep release day through Blowout. It's going to be, and actually, what did I pay? Let's go to my order screen here. I can't remember what I paid. Let's see, my account. Am I still logged in? I just love staying logged. Yes, I love staying logged into things. I know that you're not supposed to, cybersecurity and all that crap, but it's so much easier. My orders. January 16th. I paid $977.86 shipped for a jumbo case. So a jumbo case is $1,995. So that's 1,009. So 9. It's like $30 more expensive on blow. It's like barely noticeable. So there you go. And do I pay tax at blowout? I don't know if I pay tax on blowout. I actually shouldn't pay tax because I have a tax. I always forget I have a tax number. I need to forget about that. Which also I got to email. That also reminds me, my disorganization. My accountant says, hey, we need your numbers for sales tax. Where are we at? Troy, absolutely. You need to come down sometime to the Madison Card Show. This Saturday, what are you doing this Saturday? January 27th, February 24th, and March 30th. Those are the secured dates. And then April, May, June dates will be booked in February. They only let me They only let me book 3 months out. I may book the third ballroom for February just based on me having tables now. Might as well just buy some more tables and fill up a third ballroom. So might do that. Sports Card Ripping Teacher says, seems like you need someone like the Will Smith character in that golf movie to help you get organized. I don't think I watched that movie. Was that the robot movie? I'm not familiar, so I don't get the joke. Bring your own table. I do have a couple. I do have 2 dealers bringing their own tables. And it's more of a space issue than a table issue. Because I have other dealers that they would bring their own tables, but at this point it's like, might as well, because I'm stuffing them into every corner. And then it also, because the hotel like sets it up a certain way, and they get annoyed when I change that layout. And so I want to work well with them. So I just say, like, I even offered, when I reached out about the third ballroom, I'm like, first question, is the state ballroom available for Saturday? Second question, if it is, I will bring my own tables. I will set them up. Is that okay? Because I know some union stuff, all that bullshit. No, you can't set up yourself. We have to do it. So I know that sometimes that can be, something. So because this has happened once where I said this would never happen again, and it did. But I'm taking full response. Like last time, it's like they scrambled and found the extra tables. This is actually even worse than that time though, and I'm bringing extra tables. But I had offered. I'm like, this is my fault. Like I will come in and help set up, and they're like, no, we will take care of it. Mark Marinello, what's up? Good morning. Going through a little Hall of Fame inductee withdrawal. Wore my Hall of Fame tie and socks to work yesterday. You are diehard. But now, hey, pitchers and catchers. In fact, a lot of pitchers and catchers have already reported. That's why I like the internet. My buddy Rich Biesterfeld down in Mesa. He's like at the complex every day taking photos. Pete Crow Armstrong, Justin Steele, Moises Ballesteros, James Triant, like all of the Cubs prospects are already at spring training, already in Mesa, including Justin Steele and some of the big league guys already there. Pitchers and catchers don't report till Valentine's Day, which is also Series 1 Topps release day. I think that's kind of like, that's got to be like hand in hand. Like Top Fanatics is like, oh, we're going to do this. So a lot of those guys already there have already reported. And I don't know. I'll have to ask Ethan about this. Like when guys go down there, like, are they free to like, I mean, I can't imagine the Cubs like, oh, once you're here, you're here. Like I would imagine like they can like come back for weekends or, fly at will. Whereas like once February 14th hits, it's like, no, you're reporting to work. But if you come early, yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want. I'll have to ask Ethan that. Dan says, not that the demand by sellers is there, but is getting another room an option? Yes. Or not enough demand to fill another room. There's certainly enough demand. There's actually, I'm like, I wish I could have got that third room. So yes, there's absolutely demand. I just don't think over the course of a year, it's kind of like the second ballroom. Before I went to the second ballroom, I didn't want to book it out because there are some months where I may not have utilized that second room. And that third room, they also have I think they do like a church program on Sundays. So I don't think they're really excited about booking that, especially for like a card show, because then they have to turn it over same day, same night. So right now there is demand, but like in June or July, there's probably, well, July maybe. July is always a big show. There's going to be some months where there's probably not demand for that third room. So it's kind of, I want to do a month by month, and it's like, okay, there's a lot of demand. Can I get this State Street Ballroom this month? So, and they worked with me because it was the second ball, the Williamson Ballroom, which is now a mainstay, was one of those where I was booking it 1 month at a time originally. And then it's like, okay, I now there's enough demand. We're going to do it every month. And I think there would be enough demand on a monthly basis for that third ballroom. But at this time, it's like, I just don't know. It's kind of like people, oh, you've outgrown this venue. It's not like I can just go out and do another venue, because then you're at a different venue, which is automatically going to impact traffic, because people are used to going to the same place. So that's the battle you have to fight sometimes. Happy Thursday, grinding for goods in the house. Christian is here. Good morning. Shane says, is there an advantage to having just a one-day show compared to a two-day show? Yes, actually there is. That's a really good question, because a lot of people say, oh, this needs to be a two-day show. There's an advantage to both. So the advantage to having a one-day show is you have a bigger pool of dealers. The advantage of having a two-day show, you have a smaller quantity of dealers, but you have more quality. Like a lot of bigger dealers, like Baseball Card Exchange coming to my one-day show last month, like they don't do one-day shows. They do Dallas, and they do Burbank, and they do Atlanta. They do like big shows, multi-day shows. So for them to come up was a pretty good get. They came on December 30th, and they'll probably be back again. So you get those types of dealers to a two-day show where they won't bother coming to a one-day show. But the dealer pool for a one-day show is much larger because you have, weekend warriors. Like I would have no interest anymore in doing a two-day show. The only two-day shows I've done are the shows in Loves Park. And, based on the traffic the last show, I'm like, I'm out on another two-day show, but I do a one-day show. Just because my inventory, like I'm not dealing in high-end stuff. I'm dealing in quarter cards and dollar cards. And it's just not feasible for me to drive back and forth or stay in a hotel. So that's the difference between a one-day show and a two-day show. And honestly, I don't really have any aspirations to do a multi-day show. I've been asked multiple times. I helped out with the first Midwest premiere down in Loves Park. And at the end of it, I'm like, thanks, but I'm going to sit out the next one. I'm going to just be a dealer at the next show. I like my one-day show. Dan, what's happening? Good morning. Hope you have a great week. I'm excited that I finally figured out how to have my logo at the bottom of the card scan on Card Dealer Pro. Very cool. Mark F's in the house. Good morning. JW is here. Good morning. Neil, what's happening? Greg, good morning. Joe, what's happening? Andy Max in the house. Brian, good morning. eBay slowing my laptop. As soon as I open eBay, fan starts running and pages freeze. That's no good. Donald says, hit the like button. Thank you, sir. Peter's in the house. What's going on? Cooter's here. Good morning. Dentist appointment this morning. Sucks to be me. I do not envy you. The dentist is the worst thing ever. Donald Davis says, was texting Mark, and he has the VFW in Macomb saved for a cards and collectible show on April 6th. Hey, if you are in Western Illinois, I lived in Macomb for, how many years did I live in Macomb? What's 14 minus 3? 11 years. I lived in Macomb for 11 years. Macomb VFW, April 6th. Mark did text me last night, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know if it was for public consumption just yet. So there you go. Mark your calendars, April 6th. Mark asked me if I'm going to be a dealer. I probably cannot make that because I will be in spring training from March 12th through the 20th. And then the last Saturday, which would be the Saturday before April 6th, will be, hopefully, if I can get the date, the Madison Card Show. So I think, what am I working with in March? Oh, wait, March 30th. It's already booked. Duh. So March 12th through the 20th, I'm at spring training. And then I have that weekend to just unwind. And then March 30th. So then that April 6th. So I probably won't head down just because March will be a crazy month for me. But if you do another one, hopefully I can make a future Macomb Card Show. Brian, what's happening? Good morning. Max says, no, we don't hear anything. LOL. Shane says, I hear nothing. Hardcore silence. Really? Hardcore silence. Good morning, Porter. Having my morning coffee, prepping to sift through $800,000 box cards. Glad I got a cortisone shot in my arthritic thumb. Holy moly. I am looking. I don't need to buy anything, but I haven't. See, this is not a position I need to be in. When you're disorganized. So I'm talking it out. This is why I have a problem. This is why I have a disorganization problem. This table is a mess. My rec room is a mess. My card room is a mess. My shipping area is just a fucking shit show. Oh, shit. Drop the F-bomb. Literally drop the F-bomb. And here I want to buy more cards. Somebody asked me if I was, how much longer until I run out of space at the new house and here. And now I'm already playing Tetris with cards, and here I want to buy more. But I think that's a problem we all have. We just want to keep buying more. It's like I can list. But sometimes it's like, and I probably have you could put the boxes that I have, like the football cards I just listed, like those weren't a random box. I didn't even know I had them. And here I want to buy new. I want to buy more, spend more money on stuff that I probably already have in a box hidden away if I just spent some time looking. But it also does help in the fact that when I buy more, I need to when I actually put this is like dead inventory. Essentially, it's dead inventory. When I buy something, then it's like, okay, I've got to move this. I've got to list it now because I've got I just forked over cash, how much ever it was. Just forked over the cash. I got to get rid of it. When I go to a card show this weekend, Madison, Saturday, say I buy a couple bulk boxes or quarter boxes, whatever it might be, because I'm not going to be a dealer, so I might shop around. Say I buy a couple boxes. I come home and it's like, I just spent $100,000, $200,000, $500,000. I need to recoup this money now. And I list the stuff that's in boxes hidden away. It's like, I paid for it a year ago, 2 years ago. And now it's just free money at this point. You can't think like that though, because it's not. There was a price tag attached at some point in time. So that's kind of how I'm working. But it's always fun to buy. Good morning, Brian. There he is. Does your wife source any inventory for you when in Florida? Absolutely not. The only inventory she sources, something arrived on our doorstep yesterday. It's like, oh, she was at the mall. I think my favorite story, my least favorite story was I was still working at my old job, and I was working from home. And it was one of those days like we had a couple weeks ago or last week where it was like 30 below wind chills. And my wife had just come back from Florida, and she's on the phone. And it sounds like she's on the phone with a delivery driver. And she's like, yeah, just come to the roundabout. And she's like, well, you can just take a right at the roundabout. And like, oh, you can't fit through the round. I'm like, wait, what is this guy driving? Isn't it like a UPS truck? And so she comes in and she's like, hey. And I'm like, hey, I just heard some of that conversation. What's going on? So she bought some art. And it was being delivered in a 53-foot trailer. And 53-foot trailers, truck drivers don't like. By the way, I was working in transportation at this point in time. They don't like residential deliveries. And it's 30 below wind chills. So we had to go pick them up 2 blocks down in a parking lot. And I'm like, okay, is there going to be, and both of us drive SUVs, similar size hatches. I'm like, is there going to be space? So there was space for one, and we're like bundled up. It's freezing. And we fit one in the back, and the second one would not. Like, it was just gigantic. I'm like, didn't you realize how big this damn thing was? And so the driver he was able to make it. The funny thing was, he came up from the south, and it would have been super easy for him. I don't know why he didn't do this. So he came up from the south, and the roundabout, we were to the right. So all he had to do was, and I've never drove a semi-truck, 53-foot trailer before, so I don't know how easy this actually is. But I think what he did is much more difficult, because all he had to do was come up from the south, take the roundabout to the right. He didn't have to clear the roundabout. He just had to go right. And then that's our house, like third on the right. And then boom. And then the road, it goes all the way through. He would have to go through residential neighborhood, come out, and then boom, he can get on Mineral Point Road. What he does instead is goes through like the entire roundabout, 3/4 of it. So he comes up from the south and then does the, and then goes, and then he actually had to drive through more residential area getting out than what he would have if he would have just taken the right. And then not only that, if he would have taken the right, the easy way, he would have been able to park in front of our house and just wheeled it up into our front door, where instead he had to wheel it like an entire block to get to our house in 30 below wind chills. Hopefully no more art will be delivered from Florida this week. Diego, what's up? When you sing, do you really sing the right lyrics? Good morning. Most of the time, no. Or if I don't know the lyrics, I just like, yeah, you do that. And then all of a sudden the chorus hits and like, yeah. And you know the words again. Raphael, what's up? Any thoughts on having a co-promoter to help? No. Actually, my show, I had a co-promoter at the very beginning. It was actually his. I had wanted to do a card show for a few years. I just didn't have the ambition to start it on my own. He had the ambition, and I had kind of the know-how of, okay, I've never promoted a card show, but I've been a dealer and I kind of know how they work. So I'm like, if you deal with the venues, getting quotes and all that, I'll handle the dealers and marketing and that stuff. So we did. Now, early on, like, we didn't make any money. And then he moved to Texas. So it became my show. So I had a co-promoter. You really have, just like with any business, you really have to have the same vision to do business, because otherwise there can be, and you can be great friends outside of the business, but if you have different visions for the business and how you work things, it can lead to disaster. Fortunately, there was no disaster with our partnership. But it, dissolved in after how many shows? April, May, June, July, like 5 shows. We only co-promoted 5 shows together. No frozen pizza on. Yeah, I'll be dead before dysentery if I had to travel on the Oregon Trail. Let's see. James wants to know if I'm setting up those bargain boxes in the parking lot. No, I'm not. I heard a funny squeaking sound, and my thick Wisconsin blood triggered my brain to say cheese curds. Dan says Car Dealer Pro takes racing now. Oh, they do? Yeah. So you could buy that $100 case of 2018 Donruss NASCAR and list it all at Car Dealer Pro. Steel City had a 20 blaster case of WNBA Prism from last year for $99. That sounds like a hell of a good deal too. I would assume WNBA probably sells more than NASCAR. I don't know. Shane says, headed up to Minnesota today to check out a couple of card shops. Last time I was at one of them, they had a big box of base cards for $40. I figured depending on what set and year, I'll scoop a box. Always fun if they have any available. Love it. I wish I had a good card shop that I could go piss away money at. Although Nelson Cards, which is in Stoughton, is opening, I think, next week is their grand opening in DeForest, which is where I go to Fleet Farm. Because I asked him, I'm like, I never went to DeForest until I had to go to Fleet Farm to get more tables. Where's your card shop at? I only know where is it the Mouse House, Cheese House, or whatever, and Fleet Farm. That's all. That's all I know of DeForest. DeForest, full of the trees. On the 20 box case I find, you get about 5 to 7 autos. The rest will be mem cards. Every box seems to have 2 numbered parallels. So for me as a collector, it's like buying in bulk. Oh, yeah. If you're a collector, that's got to be a steal. Heck yeah. Bagger Vance. I don't know what that is. You could bulk it out and get your money back. I always get confused with Bagger Vance and Greatest Game Ever Played. Both great golf. Oh, the movie that was referenced. I don't think I've ever seen Bagger Vance. Who's in it? Let's Google it. Bagger Vance. The Legend of Bagger Vance. Will Smith, Matt Damon, Charlize Theron. 2000. I never saw this movie. Plot is loosely based on the Hindu sacred text that I can't pronounce. As a senior having a 6th heart attack while playing golf, Hardy Greaves contemplates how his late wife used to ask him why he kept playing a game that seems destined to kill him. Interesting. Well, maybe I'll look that up. Red Light 34, good morning. Brian says, see you April 6th. He's going to Macomb. AA Cards, the 1 Million Cubs warehouse coming to a town near you. Could you imagine? No, not at all. It took 60 man hours to move the 1 Million Cubs warehouse, and not 60 bow man hours. It would have taken like 195, more than that. It would have taken 600 man hours for me. 60 man hours of like college kids that like fucking hustle. 60 man hours to move my cards. And that doesn't include my inventory, which based on the amount of cards I have is kind of minuscule. But like I probably moved myself like I probably did one SUV truckload on my own. And then the movers did 60 man hours. Diego says, my problem is getting more, but no list mentality. There you go. Some of us have that as well. Bo is not a dealer this weekend. He will be coming home with a truck full of inventory. Hey, I will say it's better than being a dealer and coming home with twice the inventory. It's like, like I had one show, I think it was a Janesville show. I was like desperately trying to dump off bulk. I was all the way down to like, I was offering my quarter boxes for like $25 a box just because it wasn't a deal that I would ever give again. But it was out of necessity because I needed room to all the shit that I picked up that day. And nobody took me up on that offer. You're crazy. Like if those were the same cards and somebody had them at the next table, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll take every one of them and I'll figure out a way to get home. Andy Mack says, I haven't bought a single card since June. Wow. I'm forcing myself to list or get rid of all the stuff I already have sitting in my basement. My wife, who is very much smarter than me, I would buy. I had Diego's problem. And I did sell, but there was a lot more coming in than was going out. And my wife's like, why don't you sell some of your stuff before you buy more? And it's like, that's not fun. There's no fun in that. And then COVID happened. And it's like, what else am I going to do? I might as well list. And list I did. And here we are today. Good for you, Andy Mack. I need to do something similar. Cooter says, you need to convert your dead inventory to cash, then redeploy the cash and free space to new inventory. I do. Absolutely. And I know I need to do that. The problem is putting it into practice. That's your highest return. Pull 20 boxes and pretend you bought them. So what I need to do is I need to reach back out to my bulk buyer. And that'll at least free up a couple spots on a shelf. And then we'll do some flat rate box sales on the YouTube channel. I mentioned that yesterday. Just old cherry picked quarter boxes, and it's basically list them on eBay for $2. That's what they're going to be full of. But you're going to be getting them for, I don't know, say a nickel a card. I don't know what the price is going to be, but it's going to be where it's worth it both for you and I. It's going to be worth my time to put them together, box them up, and ship them to you. It's going to be worth your money to buy them and list them if you're looking for inventory, low end volume. So we'll do that. When? Probably not next week, because I'll be in recovery mode and in shipping following, because Saturday I won't do any shipping. And then, I'll have to get back on it Sunday. And then usually it takes me 2 days to recover from the weekend. So as far as shipping goes, so that's, and then getting caught up. I don't think I have anything in early February. So maybe that second week, or not next week, but what would that be? The first, next week's the first. So like the second week of February. Let's see, where are we at? Joe J says, how do I get in touch with you if wanting to purchase bulk lots? So, shoot me an email. Do I have a banner? I used to have a banner of my email. So you can email me at, let's do 1 Million Cubs Project. So this is my email. I'm going to flash that. There you go. So that's my email. I'm going to do some bulk. If you're local, it'll be easier. But if you're not local and they need to be shipped, I'm going to be selling on YouTube flat rate boxes. And so I want to do it on YouTube live so you can come and I can show you what's in each box. So there's no surprises. It's going to be low end stuff, but stuff that, you might be able to move. It's just like, and if your question is, why don't you list it? Because I have too much of it. So this is kind of like just additional stuff. So we'll do that the second week of February. If you are local, shoot me an email and we can work out some bulk deals locally. Bagger Vance is a great movie. Bagdavita. Was that the word I couldn't pronounce? Yes. Bhagavad. The plot is loosely based on the Hindu sacred text, the Bhagavad Gita. It depicts God, Krishna, tutoring a warrior hero, Arjuna, played in the film by Smith and Damon. Max says, boo to these guys saying not to buy more. Where's the fun in that? Just buy a storage unit and pack that full. If you're not selling cards full-time, I completely understand why you're not buying. If you are selling cards full-time, you have to buy new inventory. It's just the way of the world. What you got to do. Uncle Rich, he must be in the office. He found his login. The Movers episode, the most famous long-running episode of this series. And unfortunately, you can't watch it in replay because it was only for live eyes. I deleted that portion because I didn't want to get in trouble. We left the camera rolling as the Movers started the process of getting all of my cards moved. Kyle says, if NASCAR Full Speed Netflix stock on January 30th is a huge success, the $99 case could become extremely profitable. Interesting. Let's see. Brian says, did you look into those ceramic Nolan Ryans yet? No, I think I just put them in just kind of like when I probably first put them in the shelf. I put them in the shelf. But I'll look into that at some point. So close. World Lit 2008 coming through in the clutch. There you go. All righty. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Visit my eBay store. Mikey says, do you want to set up at my show? Probably not, because you're a long way away. So I only set up at local shows because I don't have the inventory to make it worthwhile. Whereas you're in Peru, right? If you were in Peru, Illinois, I'd do it. Peru, Indiana. It's just too far for me. let's see. I don't want to go to Lima, Peru. Let's see. There we go. Holy shit, you're way out there. Yeah, it's 5 hours for me. So too far. Even Macomb is kind of now Macomb. I would set up Macomb's about what 3.5, 4 hours. I would do that just because I lived in Macomb for so long. I still have friends there. I would do that. But basically, I just kind of stay. I do quarter box stuff. So when I set up at shows, I'm just doing local 1-day shows. Madison, Janesville, Rockford, and St. Charles. I do St. Charles. St. Charles is like 2 hours away. So I kind of keep it in a 2-hour radius based on, the economics. Andy Mack says 100% understand that full-time buyers need to be always buying. My problem was I was buying like I was a full-time seller, but was a very part-time seller. And I know exactly where you're coming from because I was you. 5 years ago. Yeah. 5 years ago, that was me. I was buying like I was a full-time seller, but I would cherry pick like, I would spend $1,000 on a collection and I'd sell $800. And it's like, I basically paid $200 for the rest of this stuff and then rinse and repeat, do it again. So I wasn't making any money. I was losing money, but it was also a hobby. Like it was a hobby. And basically that $800 for me as a hobby was just free money to spend on the next collection. So, that's how I looked at it. My wife looked at it a little differently. Like, okay, you're spending $200 here and $200 there. And now your cards are starting to creep into our shared storage space. So in this house, that can't happen because there's a lot of space in this basement that there would either. Speaking of, Cooter will like this. I don't know if Cooter's still here. I was we had both my wife is a realtor, so she has her own business and my own business. We have the same accountant. So our business taxes our fiscal years both run October 1st through September 30th. So our business taxes are already done for last year. So now our accountant is like talking to us about, okay, here's how the year went, da 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 da. So for my wife's business, she sells expensive homes. I sell cheap baseball cards. So we're in a different tax bracket. So he advised my wife to buy income property. And so we were having this conversation on the way to the airport last week. And I'm like, so what type of income property is he advising? And she said like storage units. And really? Because, and she stopped me before I got too excited. She goes, not this year. And I'm like, because I can like, okay, like that helps both of us because you give me a little break on the rent, honey. And I can utilize a storage unit. And also like storage wars. And she's like, no, we are not running a storage. I'm like, but I can manage it. And then I'm like, wait, no, I don't want to manage that. That sounds terrible. Dealing with people not paying their rent and then having to auction off their storage units. And there's it's not like, because I looked into this because there was a storage auction in the area recently. And so I was kind of looking up like the rules and regulations of storage units. And it's like super strict. Like owners of storage units can't like go cherry pick a unit before auction. Now, I don't know if they can just go in and like I think that's with an auction. I don't know if they can just go in and take whatever they want if they don't pay. Like, hey, this is your last notice. Now it's ours. But I do know like if it goes to auction, there's like strict regulations on you can't go in there and take stuff or it's like jail time, I think. So I'm like, I don't want to get into that. Let's see. Mikey says you should take over the wife's office. Yeah, right. So no, I wouldn't do that because my wife's office is upstairs. And she would absolutely kill me. That ain't happening. Shane says, when this episode ends, that means I have to drive 2 hours to Minnesota. What else is there to talk about? But aren't you driving to Minnesota to go to a card shop? You should be like wanting to go. You should have left an hour ago and then had this on in the background on your drive up. And then it's only an hour or an hour in. There you go. Unless you have to go to the dentist. And then I'd be like, fuck that. Cooter says, I talked to Barry. Really? Barry from Storage Wars at the Chili Bowl last week. We were at adjoining urinals. Did you talk at the urinals? I thought that was like you couldn't do that. Sometimes I talk at the, like, I try not to because it's weird. Some people don't care though. Some people are just like, oh, hey. Shane says, I want to go. I don't want to drive. I get it. I totally understand. They open at 10 a.m. That would be too early. Okay. I understand. Porter says, do any of you guys have a recommendation for a hobby-based podcast to listen to on my 2-hour drive today? There's always Hobby Evolution reruns. There's 1,089 other episodes. Let's see. Dr. Beckett's is a great podcast, but it's only 15. So you have to have like a playlist. That's why I don't like short form if I'm going on the road. I honestly don't listen to too many hobby podcasts. I'll listen to, as far as like long form content, Hobby Hotline, John, that 70s Card Show, and then Dollar Box Live. Those are like the only long form content episodes that I listen to. And then sometimes Jeremy Lee, Sports Card Live, depending on who he has as a guest. Because a lot of times he has guests on that I don't care. Like they're collecting like 90s Jordan cards. It's like, I don't have any interest in that. But if he has Brian Gray on, I'll listen to that. Cooter did not break the rule, talked while washing hands. So the first time I met Ryan Sandberg was next to each other in the urinal. And I wait, like, is this creepy? Like I waited out. It was at a fundraiser and I waited outside to get a pic. And he was like super nice. And he's like, yeah, I'm like, hey, can we get a picture? He's probably excited because I didn't ask him for an autograph. And so he took a picture, but yeah, I didn't break that rule. I was just like, in my head, I'm like, holy shit, Ryan Sandberg's taking a piss right next to me. If you do Dr. Beckett's podcast via one of the ways, it automatically goes to the next one. Aha. Brian says the 1988 Topps podcast is a fun one. They do an episode on every card in the 88 set. Yes, it is. I was actually a guest on one of their shows. The Ty Griffin card. I was a guest on the 88 Topps traded Ty Griffin Team USA card. Sports Card Nonsense. I've never listened to their podcast. Golden Age of Cardboard. That's a good one with Mike Moynihan. Podbean is the one which automatically goes to the next one. Oh, interesting. Is that an app? See, here's me not knowing how to work things. Podbean. Interesting. I just use like the Apple podcast app. Cousins Collectibles is pretty good. Hour-long episodes. They were on Hobby Hotline. I think they're from Philly. Charlie says, I met Packers legend Larry McCarron at a urinal once, and that crazy broken pinky was invading my space. A little uncomfortable. That's awesome. All right. Hey, we got to go because Shane's got to get on the road. Shane, you're not going to get there till almost 10:30 if you leave right now. So I don't want to take up any more of your time because you've got bargain boxes to shop through. I've got a lot of shipping to do and getting some final touches put together for the Madison Card Show this Saturday, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Don't forget to visit my eBay store, 99centcards.com. I don't think I added anything. No, I added those on whatever the night before was. So didn't add anything new yesterday. Check out my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Buy 7 or more, 25% off. So check that out. Madison Card Show this Saturday. Couple comments before we go. Unicorn Cupcake says, in my opinion, the best bathroom graffiti I saw was in, oh man, this is going to go. I'm sorry, Shane. I'm sorry, because I've got another story to tell. Unicorn Cupcake says the best bathroom graffiti I saw was in Seneca Falls, New York. Above the urinal, it said, "The joke is in your hand." Maybe it's common, but I've only seen it once. I've never seen that, so I don't think that's common. So the best graffiti that we had in the bar that I am so pissed. I am so pissed, and I hope it's still there. There was a bar restaurant, and it had multiple names. But it was always the Longhorn when I was growing up. It was on the junction of Route 6 and Route 78, Anawan, Illinois. Right before I was before I was a kid, before I was born, it was called like Hamp's Place. Hamp was like the chef. It was called some other names before he bought it. It's been a couple names since. It was like the Roadhouse at one point, and nobody went there. It's called Mix Place now, and it's my mom goes up there like every Wednesday night. They do like a drawing or something, but it's like completely different from the Longhorn that I grew up. Anyway, the Longhorn was at this point in time in the 80s and early 90s, into the early 2000s, I guess. So like you walk in, and to the right was like the bar restaurant. If you walk into the left, like that was like the fancy, I think that was actually like the fine dining area. And that's also where they had like my 21st birthday was in that room. We won't talk about that. Oof, that was a shit show. But now it's like completely changed. Anyway, the bathrooms in like the main bar lounge area, there's pool tables, darts. I think that was it. Bar in the bathrooms. They had, now think back to like 70s and 80s, like walls, like especially wood walls. So these were like wood walls. And like starting probably in like the early 70s, maybe even late 60s, people started carving their initials and their names and like just stupid shit in the bathroom. Well, this took, this all of a sudden took hold, and it became like a thing. And by the time I was able to go in there and drink in the 2000, when was I 21? 2003. I'm carving, and actually probably before I was 21, carving my name, and it was fun to go back and look, and it's like, oh, there's my brother's name from like 1984, and just it was really cool. And then they like when they redid it, when new owners took over, they redid it, and they like now it's like white, it's just white, off white. So hopefully they just covered up. Hopefully they didn't like rip that wood out. Hopefully they kept it in there and just covered it up with the drywall or whatever the hell they used. I was like, when I went in there for the first time seeing that, I was so pissed. What did you do? You ruined history. You ruined Anawan history. Shane is the hardest working man in the hobby. Saw him at the Dallas Card Show last weekend. Neil says, met Jim Kelly at the National about 5 years ago in the men's bathroom urinal. We chatted for a few minutes. Super nice guy. How's the weather for Saturday? Up here, I think it's good. Let's see. It's always usually in the winter, it's a couple days. I think now it's safe to say it's going to be okay. Clear on Saturday. High of 39, a low of 33, so it's going to be above freezing. Looks like we've got rain today, rain tomorrow with highs in the upper 30s. So weather is clear. Weather's looking clear for Saturday. Cooter says, best graffiti in a bar restroom. Remember, no matter how good looking she is, somewhere some guy is sick of her shit. Yeah. Right? All right. Now we got to get Shane up to Minnesota. Shane, warm your car up. Get those bargain boxes ready for you. All right. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Visit my eBay store. Have a great Thursday. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. We'll play a little Name That Player tomorrow morning. Remember, no show on Saturday morning for Hobby Evolution. The Madison Card Show is this Saturday, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Record number of dealers at the show this Saturday. We're looking at 145 tables. So come out and see us in Madison Saturday. The show review will be on Sunday morning, probably around 8:30 Central Time. So with that, I'm out. Have a great day, and we'll talk again tomorrow morning.